Right guys, Mark Crossfield here, comparing Mizuno JPX900 forged iron against the Titleist AP2. Two irons that I'm sure lots of people are thinking about getting or comparing. Let's show you what they do for me to give you an idea of what they might do for you, but always important for you to go and test and get your own fittings as well. Let's get stuck in. Right, so Mizuno JPX900 forged, hitting up against the AP2, also forged, 7/16 iron. If we look at these two irons down by the ball, I think out of the two for me, believe it or not, the AP2 is slightly winning. Slightly less long blade length, which I prefer, and I like the classic chrome. If you look at the JPX Forged 900, it looks nice. It's got this kind of white satin finish, which does look nice, but I just prefer the chrome personally, personal preference. And it's a slightly longer blade length. Now, I use Mizuno irons, but I use the MP range, which, to be honest with you, is more in line in looks with what Titleist are doing almost with AP2 in blade length and what have you. Now, when it comes to user friendliness on both of these clubs, both the top lines look very similar. The amount of offset is almost the same. You've got weight in the heel and toe, tungsten weighting out the side of the AP2. You get weights in the heel and the toe here on the 900 forged as well. Boron going through the 900, allowing them to make it thinner and firmer, those kind of things. Yeah, let's give them a hit and see. We've got some real ball data coming at you as well, to show you how they differ, if they differ or not. So AP2 down by the ball, like I say, looks great. It's just a classic looking iron, this. I could absolutely game this. It feels nice off the face. It feels very much what I like about these kind of irons. What I put in, I get out. There's no kind of explosion. It's a truer feel, sound, those kind of things. Much truer ball flight. That's the kind of height, distance I would look to get out of this iron. Obviously very tried and tested on world tours when it comes to Titleist AP2 irons. It looks and feels great. I don't know many people who pick up a Titleist iron and don't like the look of it, to be honest. It is an iron and a company that lots of people do aspire to play. And with the performance of this, feel and everything, I can understand why. We'll look at the numbers of that one shortly. For this kind of iron as well, tungsten in the toe, the heel and toe weight, it's going to offer quite a lot of help for something that looks that classic. So if we compare that to the 900 forged, like I say, it's a very different, well, not very different, but it is a slightly different looking iron in its colourway and slightly longer blade length. See how it feels. Again, the offset looks very similar to AP2. Now, what is interesting with this club is you go back to it, and it is their tagline, and it sounds a bit of a cliche, but the feel, sound and feel of this club is very different to AP2. And I think this is where this one might win for the player in this bracket, if you were to compare these two. I think if you do a survey, more people would like the look of AP2. But that sound and feel of that feels as good as my MP. It absolutely does. It's a different, duller sound. It feels truer again. And even though that one felt very true, I'm gonna hit one more with this. It would be so hard to choose. I don't know if I would go on looks or I would go on sound and feel, because if I was going on looks, these two, I would go AP2. But off the face, feel, sound, I would definitely be going the forged JPX 900 forged here. Yeah, I mean, just the acoustics of this club are so true to what I want this club to feel like. Let's look at the numbers. Let's see if there's any difference in the performance. Definitely feel there is for me, and the looks there is, but let's look at some raw data. So let's see if there's any performance difference in these two. JPX is going 4 yards on average carry further. It did feel a little stronger off the face. It's going that bit lower, look, 28 peak height compared to 32 in the AP2. You're going to have a slight discrepancy in lofts on these two clubs as well, I'd imagine, which you can see from these launches and these distances. So I imagine if you were to get these two clubs both lofted exactly the same, you'd probably find they go the same distance. Now, I haven't checked the lofts. I don't like to check lofts before any tests, so there might be some lofts coming up in this video or not, but I like to, because if I check the loss, what happens is I then can start manipulating a club to try and find my launch. So I like just to test as is. Don't know the loss before I hit them. Also spinning a little bit left, 4.7 to 5.4. So the AP2 is delivering very, very true numbers, I would say. Where the JPX900 is going to be slightly cranked, it is producing those lower numbers, which is giving me those distance. That slightly lower ball flight for me would worry me a fraction. I like the ball getting up in the air, but obviously if it's a different loft, I could just use a different club as well. Picking out of those two, I think I would go on the feel of the Mizuno, but could absolutely game AP2, no problem. I've said that for years, ever since reviewing clubs. Interesting, yeah, very similar clubs in their ideas, slightly different loss, producing very different numbers. If you go and test these, don't be just seduced by that distance. If it is something you're after that ticks that box, go for it. But if you want the ball to stop the other end equally, you want that control, you might want to test that as well with these two clubs. Post comments down below, let me know what you think. As always, thanks for watching. Speak to you soon. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Periscope, all the normal social places. Also, come and visit my new website, markcrossfieldgolf.com. See you over there.